Hello, Mr. Gheorghiu.
Hello, how are you?
Good, good. Welcome back to the studio.
Thank you.
We see each other after a,
A long time.
a long break.
Yeah.
All right, so let's start with a new game. So you play here against Eduardas,
Rozentalis, yes.
Rozentalis.
Well, in that time, he was one of the most promising young Soviet players. He came, I think, from Latvia or Lithuania or something like this. By name, you can see it, and he was a very dangerous tactical player, like all the young Soviet players in that time. And he played the Sveshnikov variation against the Sicilian with the second move C3, which was very popular in that time. Well, right now they continue to play this for white from time to time.
So the C3 is the...
C3 is a little bit rare, let's say. I mean, if you compare with some other continuation from Sicilian for white, I mean. It seems quiet enough, but it's not the case. I mean, it's dangerous enough, and if you don't play very carefully with black, you can have many surprises, very unpleasant surprises.
So what's that?
So after d5, black tries to come very quickly in the opening to take the initiative if possible. If not, later on to build a very, very powerful position in the center. I mean, you have to continue to play on the central squares against this line. And the idea is in the next moves, white tries to play something very quickly, tactically, and black has to play to some good counter chances to play against the Isolani, against the pawn from d4 later on. We'll see, you see. And it's very complicated, very complex position. So this is the normal position after a few moves, of course. And now bishop e3 is a special move from Rozentalis. Usually they play here bishop b5 check, bishop e2, knight a3, many other continuations. I played a lot for black, and the move order is very important. After bishop e3, again, you have to be very careful and play very carefully with black, because if you let white to take the initiative, it's a little bit too late in any position, you know. So, okay, now after bishop e3, you take in d4. Now, if he wants something, he has to take with the pawn. If he takes with the queen and you can trade queens very quickly, black has no problems, you know. So he has to take with the pawn and later on come with knight c3 and so on. So after c takes d4, I played knight c6, knight c3, of course. And now queen d6. Queen d6 is a little bit unclear. Let's say the normal move here is queen d8. I played also against queen d8, against Rozentalis in another game. We drew the game finally after very interesting
You played before or after this game?
After this game.
Okay.
And I mean, he tried to take the revenge, and I didn't want to repeat. I played queen d8. Okay, after queen d8, black is still all right. It's no problem. But queen d6 wants a little bit more. I mean, you try to have a little bit more by this move order. You'll see what is the difference. Later on in the game, the queen comes to d8. Later on, you know. So after a3, bishop e7. He played bishop d3, and now it's very important to play b6 and bishop b7 first, because the small difference here is if you play immediately castle instead of b6. After castle, queen c2, you see?
Yes.
The big difference is now if you play b6, it's not all right. I mean, white is much better after b6, playing normally knight e4. And after knight e4, you have, no, e4.
E4.
E4, yeah. Knight e4. Now it's very unpleasant for black, because now if you take in e4, yes, after bishop takes e4, he attacks in c6 and in h7, you are probably already lost with black, you see. So therefore you have to be very careful. Move order is very important. Immediately in the opening, you see.
Yes.
So b6 is the right move instead of castle. You have to put first the bishop in b7, later on castle.
To defend the knight here.
Yeah. So b6 castle, bishop b7. Now it's all right. Now we continue normally. Queen e2. I mean, he comes all his pieces in the center. Queen e2, rook d1, rook e1. This is the idea for white, you see. So rook d1, rook c8. So now rook e1. Everyone is well prepared for the next, continuation. So now I played queen d8. This is a very good move because after queen d8, black waits a little bit to see what happens in the next 2-3 moves and prepares the next idea is to put the knight in d5, which gives a good game for black in any position. But again, I told you, you have to be very careful the move order, in any position. So queen d8. Now white, if he wants something, has to put the bishop in g5. Now he prepared the next phase of the game. I mean, he wants to attack. Bishop g5. Okay, bishop g5. And now the best move is knight d5. Now, if he takes in e7, is nothing. I mean, it has nothing special, you see, because you have time to take with the other knight from c6, and you have a very strong position with the knight in d5. And it's already a little bit better for black, you see. So now he continues, queen e4, I mean, of course, and after g6, now he threatens mate already in h7, no?
Yes.
And after d6, he has to continue the idea. Instead of queen g4, the normal two moves are bishop h6 or queen h4. It's very instructive that queen h4 seems very strong, because after queen h4,
yes,
if you take in g5, you are probably already almost lost with black, you see, because he comes with tempo,
yes,
and he attacks immediately very quickly and has time to come with the third piece on the third rank. Very unpleasant for black, probably very, maybe not lost, but very unpleasant.
The third piece being
the rook from e1,
the rook.
He wants to put, I mean, the idea for the ideal position for white is here to have the queen in h6, knight in g5, and rook e3, rook h3. If he has time to do this, you are lost, you see. So you have to avoid it. But after queen h4, which seems very strong, No, after queen h4 instead of queen g4. Here is almost unbelievable, but white is almost lost here, you see. The big surprise after queen h4 is knight takes d4. And after knight takes d4, you are probably lost with white. You have no move. If you take in d4, you lose a pawn. If you take in e7, after knight takes f3 check, again, you are lost with white, you see. After queen takes d4, bishop takes g5, black won a pawn and excellent position.
Yeah.
So
but if you take
there, then knight takes f3 check first.
Yes.
You see, he takes, and then you take back with the queen, and it's okay.
Yes.
Pawn up and completely winning position. You see, that was the very nasty surprise. If he played queen h4, okay. He saw it, of course. He's a very strong grandmaster, and he played queen g4. Now, the difference is you can still, you can play even here knight takes d4, but it's different because after knight takes d4, bishop takes g5, knight takes e6 check, is very unclear position. It's not clear at all who is better, If white is better, again, you have very good chances to lose with black. So you have move order again, very unclear. So the normal line to play for black is to take in g5, like in our game. He took with the knight, and now knight back to f6. Black prepares a very nice idea, queen h4, of course, no? And now we invite our opponent to sacrifice something, by playing here king g7. Okay, so now what to do? We don't let him to play queen h6 with this idea that I told you before, and he has now the possibility to sacrifice a rook in e6. Okay, rook takes e6. So it seems white has fantastic game here, because if you can't take in e6, you lose immediately the queen.
Yes.
So what to do? But here black has this move, which is very strong, and now forces you to sacrifice again something, because if you go back with the knight, you lose the rook. If you move the rook, you lose the knight from g5. So the only move is to give something, I mean. Okay, so he took there, and it seems that he has very good compensation, very strong attacking chances, here. Okay, now you have to be very careful. So, knight e7, d6, of course, he continues. So, what to do? Knight d5. Again, here you could go wrong. In this position, is very nice idea for white. If you play knight f5, you have very good chances to lose again.
Instead of...
in f5. Now, f5 is a mistake, big mistake. He takes in f5, takes, and now d7, very strong move. Now again, you have to move the rook somewhere. You can't take in d7 because you are lost if you take there immediately. Yeah. So you have to move the rook somewhere. Rook c7, rook c5, something like this. Let's say rook c7. And now after rook c7, rook e8 is an unbelievable move, and black is lost here. If you take in e8, you lose the queen. If not, you lose the queen again. You
lose the queen, yes.
Yeah. So you see, the position is still very dangerous. So you have to play the best moves in any position. Knight d5. Okay. So after knight d5, queen g3, g5, h4. Okay, it seems that white has something, that is very unclear. But if you play well, the position is okay for black. Black is better, So in the next moves, white has a very nasty surprise. You'll see. Knight f4, rook. Yeah, he has to move back because if he takes in g5, he has no time. If he takes in g5, you take in e6, you take the rook. Yeah, and after pawn takes f6 check, king h8, and it's finished. Rook down, and there's no chance anymore. I mean, white is lost. It's not enough. I mean, he has some attacking chances, but it's not enough. It's very small compensation. So, okay, so we move back the position with the knight. Yeah, he moved back in e1. Okay, yeah. Now, knight h5. Here, we are both in time trouble, So, queen g4, knight back to win a little bit of time in time trouble. And now he has the idea to continue, It seems that he has some good attacking chances still, And now after rook c5, rook e5, and now the surprise. Here is almost unbelievable. Bishop c8. We retreat the bishop, but that wins the queen by force.
No space to...
No place for the white queen, So, of course, the continuation is easy because now with queen up for something, you win, of course. Well, the continuation is still very instructive, but it's only the possibility to see how you win with black when you have completely winning position, So, okay, he plays until the end, and that makes the game also very beautiful. King h6. And now he goes back, and now we have to realize the advantage, how to win. It's very easy, but okay, it's nice until the end. So, bishop f1. Of course, you have to move the queen somewhere now. Queen c6. Now, if he's not careful, he goes mated, in some positions. So, the only possibility is to take, and now to play g3. Now the knight goes back, but the knight comes on the other side, through d4 or through g5, you see. So, depends. So, well, here he could resign, but he continued to play a few moves until the time control. So, bishop g2, queen c5, rook e1, knight d4, you see. Rook e3, knight g4, and now after queen... rook e4, knight f3 check, and white resign. So now if you take, it's mate, if you have to take there, queen takes f2 check, and queen h2 mate.
Yes.
Yeah. Very beautiful game, but it was very unclear until a certain point, I mean, the middle game was it seemed to be very unclear.
Very dangerous attack.
Yeah, very
Sim.
dangerous. Yeah, very, very tactical. Everything was very tactical, you know. Every move you could go wrong. If you go wrong once, it's enough, you know.
Yeah.
You know.
Thank you, Mr. Gheorghiu.
You are. But anyway, it was probably the most beautiful game of the whole tournament. Sure. And against a very strong opponent also.
All right.